Report suspicious activities and call 911 for immediate response. Expect delays, searches of personal property, and restricted access to public buildings. Expect traffic delays and restrictions. Take personal security precautions to avoid becoming a victim of an attack. Avoid crowded public areas and gatherings. Do not travel into areas affected by the attack. Keep emergency supplies accessible and a full tank of gas at all times. Be prepared to evacuate your home or shelter on the order of local authorities. Report these individuals immediately to law enforcement. Closely monitor news reports and
Good evening, everybody. I hope everyone is doing outstanding. I hope that intro was interesting to all of you. I actually dug the video story that I had made early in this channel, this roaming prepper adventure called The Hegemony of Darkness. It was just something I did after a couple of bourbons, playing with some software, and makes you think in light of things that have happened. If you follow the story, you can see the progression of how things go downhill when the lights go out. The AT&T outage got me thinking. Here's a scenario. What if that happens and you're at work? Have you run the numbers? What if this happens, but you're not home? Let's think about it. If you commute 2 hours a day, you spend, say, 24 hours, you get 8 hours of sleep. So you got 16 hours. Did I do my math right? Yes, 16 hours left in your day. 4 to 6 of those 16 are in a car or a subway or a train trying to get from A to B. with the other another 8 hours at work and then a couple hours to have lunch and like acknowledge your family. So you think about it, that's why everyone's always tired. But what happens if something happens and you are not at home? Even worse, what if the people you love, the people you are doing everything you do for, are not at home? And that's what I want to talk about because I ran some numbers and it's kind of horrifying to me. But when I say horrifying, it's horrifying if you're not thinking about it. If you thought about it, if you plan this way, then you guys will be ahead of the curve, right? And at the end of the day, I'm going to quote everyone's favorite, not favorite prepper movie, the more recent one, Leave the World Behind, where the protagonist, God, I forgot his name. He's the actor with the African name. I can't remember. I just totally blanked out. But he plays the former security agent who now is a consultant to the bigwigs, to the elites. And he said one of his clients, who was a powerful man, said, "You know, my friend, everyone thinks somebody's controlling it, but what if nobody is really in control of everything and something can happen that throws everyone off? At that point, all you can hope for is that you were ready." And I'm paraphrasing, and you had a heads up, because that's all you can ask for is to be as ready as you can and have a heads up. So, on that note, I'm going to ask everyone right now. Now, if you're on your phone, that might be difficult. If you're on your iPad, think about your local area. If you have an iPad or another electronic device near you and you're watching me on one, find the other one, pull up a local map of your area. Now, a lot of you live out in the country where you're 10, 20 minutes from wherever. Your neighbors all know you. So, hypothetically, you get stuck in the road between here and town. Even if it's 40 minutes away, more than likely anyone coming down that road knows you and they'll pick you up and bring you home or bring you to the store. But what if you aren't? So, I figured I'd just take the biggest city in America. So, what if something pops off that is not something we can handle and you're stuck in New York? So we're going to use New York City. So Hudson, I don't know if Hudson will make the premiere when this video premieres, but if he does, he can chime in because he lives near there. He lives in New York State. He's familiar with the city. The Angry Prepper is also. But let's pull this up. So this, my beautiful friends, is a map of New York City. And actually, I'm sharing the wrong screen. Hold on just a second here. Huh. Let's try that again. Share the entire screen on that guy. And there we are. Okay. Same map, different window. It's a little bit weird to me. Okay. So let's just say you are on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, which would be near the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Excuse me, folks. Uh, right outside of Central Park. You see that? Right? Fancy area here. If you're going to New York City, you're working, a lot of offices here, a lot of offices here. Wall Street's down here, the financial district. 9/11 sadly occurred down here. But let's focus here. Let's say you're in Central Park, you're with your family, or you're visiting a friend, and you wind up there, and ta-da, something goes down. Let's say home for you is in Queens. You have family out in Queens, which is the suburb-ish. Um, I grew up in this part of the world. So if you're here, you notice Manhattan only has so many ways out of the city, right? You have a bridge here, you have a bridge here, you have the Brooklyn Bridge down here, you have a tunnel, which the police will frown upon if you go running through a tunnel. But let's just say power goes out, lights go out. Let's not make it a nuke or aliens or anything. The grid drops. No EMP, just lights out. Trying to drive out of there is going to be a bear. More than likely, if you're visiting Manhattan and you live anywhere around Manhattan, you took the subway or the buses in. So now you're on foot. To go from this part of Manhattan through all the way to Utopia Park, Queens, and Fresh Meadows will take you over 4.5 hours, probably 5 hours to get there. Assuming there's not another 4 million people on this island in their buildings, all trying to go the same way. And again, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. They're less than 10 ways out of Manhattan, unless you want to get in the water. If you know a guy with a boat, you can sneak onto a little cargo ship, a ferry. Great. One of the fishing boats will pick you up and drop you off in Sheepshead. Great. More than likely, you're on foot. New York City, 4 hours and 40 minutes, 12 miles to go from the Upper West Side of Manhattan, right by Central Park, by the museums, where plenty of tourists would go, to make it to Queens. Now, once you get to Queens, you have LaGuardia Airport up here, you have JFK in Brooklyn. This is kind of the middle ground of the airports. And then you have airports out in Long Island. There's none around here. But look at that. Now, if you take this other route, 4 hours and 24 minutes, and 6 hours if for some reason these exits are screwed up somehow, you're going to have to go across Manhattan, and that literally adds 2 hours to your walk. This is walking up to 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours to get to Queens. So let me give you some context. You're commuting for a business meeting. Your hotels in Queens or whatever, your friends in Queens, family. You take the subway in, power drops at 8:30 in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning, right? You work 8 to 5 plus 6 hours, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. Assuming you don't have to stop to pee or get water, 3, 4. You're looking at almost a whole day to traverse 12 miles. Now, not a lot of people I know, other than athletes, will run the 12 miles. Some of us could double time it if you have good shoes, which is why I say, if you're in a city like this, bring walking shoes, lace up walking shoes, not flip flops, not hey dudes, something you can tighten on your feet and get going. You don't need your feet swelling up, you don't need your knees swelling up. But think about that. And that's unmolested. That's assuming everybody's being nice and they're just proceeding in the same direction. Just the fact that there would be millions of people, literally millions, trying to exit those same ways is going to slow you down phenomenally. Because think about it, you can only fit so many people at a time to walk across the Brooklyn Bridge or the I forgot the other bridge, or the tunnel. You only have so much capacity. That's something, the kind of thing you need to plan for. That's assuming you're used to sea level. Now, imagine if something happened, you grew up on the coast, say in Tennessee, you grew up in South Carolina, you're on a business trip in, say, Flagstaff, Arizona, where you're going from zero elevation to 8,000 foot. You're going to get tired and winded a lot faster. Your muscles are going to cramp up a lot faster. This is why I've also said make sure you're physically fit, you're capable of doing stuff. So, interesting argument for why you should have a change of shoes and a bug out bag or a get home bag, something with which you can make your way from A to B. Now, let's change the scenario a bit. Let's go, same thing, but now you have a bike. So, I'm going to make my little dude smaller here so you can see that. Same route, but if you're on a bicycle, you notice it's a little bit different, right? Because the walking path took me through here. This is the bike, goes down the main bike path, across the bridge, and off you go. 1 hour, 18 minutes. And I'm under the assumption it's, like you're not doing speed race or anything, and you're not crawling. You're at a steady pace, nobody's stopping you. That's assuming when the lights went out, you didn't have car wrecks in every intersection, cars catching fire. Somebody hacked the Teslas like they did in the movie and crashed into everybody. This is assuming a safe, normal, not congested path. That's a huge difference. Let's say it's congested, there are accidents, you have to go around. The cops are saying you can't go through this intersection, you have to go around. Think about that. That is anywhere from a 3 to 5 hour difference. That's not assuming stops. Now, here's another thing. If I can make it home, say in an hour on a bike, chances are I'm not going to have to stop to pee in an hour, right? I can go to the bathroom wherever I am, get on my bike, off I go. I can make it home in an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and not really have to stop and use the bathroom. I'm walking for 6, 7, 8 hours. I'm going to have to stop and use the bathroom. I'm going to have to stop and rest. I'm going to need some water, right? That time delta is huge. It's huge. And it's something we need to think about when you prep your get home bag, also your get home plan. And a lot of people focus on a bug out bag, nothing wrong with that. I have my bug out bag broken into modules that I use on a regular basis, but I can combine them all into one big unit and off I go. But my get home bag to me is super important because with the travel I do, that may all be all I have. So here's a question. What if you're not in New York City? What if your geographical area is different? So let's take Houston, Texas, third largest city in America, the largest city geographically by square mileage. And let's see if, and it's not showing my map. Hey now. Oh, there we go. Ta-da. There he is. Magic. So if you're in downtown Houston and you live in the suburbs of Katy, this trip here is actually a huge trip. So, just to give you an idea of how long this would take, from oops, so from downtown just to what is this 8, Beltway 8, is a 30 to 40-minute drive at highway speeds. At highway speeds, folks. So, let's pull up that map and see. So this route right here, assuming no flooding, no accidents, nothing harsh happening, you are simply bebopping along the road. My friends, you are looking at, according to my chart here, 11 hours. Now, this area up here, Willowbrook, just this north side of town here, these arrows, let me expand that map again. All these areas, so outside of this 6 loop, which is now becoming one big highway, here's 99. It's the outer loop, the beltway, the inner loop. And then you have highways going north, south, east, west. To get from downtown to these areas, which are considered the suburbs, Jersey Village, Meadows, those, and you live in Katy, which is a very popular suburb, and there's no subway, you're either car or you're working. Well, if the power goes out, again, you're going to have the accidents. Vehicles are going to be damaged because the lights all turned off. Someone's going to have a wreck. Even if you try to drive and your car is working, it's going to take you hours. But this, if you wind up on foot, will be an 11 to 12-hour walk. Now, I don't know about you folks, but can I walk 12 hours? Yes, I know I can. I've done similar. Will I do it all in one shot? Probably not. So if you have a commute like that, you need to plan ahead. Now, both the New York and the Houston scenario, I want to bring them both up. If you have something more than 2 to 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, if there's some big catastrophe, you're going to go overnight, right? Because the bad guys aren't going to say, "Oh, we're going to commit our evil act at the beginning of the workday," like 9/11 did. They could do it at noon, 1 o'clock. So now everyone is tired from a day at work, and now you're trying to get home. And that 6 hours from 1 is now 7 p.m. with no delays in New York. There are going to be delays. You're looking 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. Now you're walking in the dark and the lights are out. People are going to do bad things. So, again, these are the kind of scenarios we need to think of, especially if you travel or if you have to commute. Now, a lot of you will say, well, I don't have to commute. I don't have to worry about that. Nonsense. You do have to worry about that. Even if you live in the country, you're trying to get to town and something happens and you have an accident or there's, an EMP, whatever, and all of a sudden you're on foot. Well, that 30, 40-minute drive into town, if everyone's now on foot, it may take you hours to get home. So, do you keep a change of shoes and a pair of socks in your vehicle? Do you have a bike? Let's say you're at home and you got to get one of your kids. I can ride my bike with, say, the kid's bike next to me, and I'll just kind of walk to the school, give the kid the bike, and then we ride back together. Things to think about, things to really ponder. So I'm going to give you some more context here just to say, so that 12-hour trip in Houston, I'm going to do the same 12-hour trip, but we're going to do it on bike. So again, back to Houston, and let's go to the bike path. Boop. 3 hours. Let's say there are delays and accidents 4 hours. Now you notice it's kind of a convoluted route, right? It's going da, 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 da. What it is trying to connect all the bike paths. So this is a roundabout number. If you can get on a main highway or one of the major roads that just cuts across town, like this one here, which is called Westheimer, or you can get off the side of the highway. Keep in mind, everyone and their mother, most people don't know the back roads to their own city. I will tell you that right now because I've seen it. I love to explore new cities and I learn all the back roads and secret ways to get to HEB or to Sam's Club or whatever. Most people don't. So everyone's going to gravitate to the main roads. Even if they're on foot, that's going to be a disaster. So this is something else. Are you going to have enough water? Are you going to have a first aid kit? What if you fall and get hurt? Do you have a change of shoes? This kind of travel, even with the bike, I'd still pick stop points and say, okay, I know the city park here, there's a city park here, there's a park here. So from downtown, there's a park here, there's a park here. This is Buffalo Bayou Park, I think, and that one's Memorial Park. I know they have bathrooms and water fountains. So I can, from downtown, let's say I'm fully equipped, I can top off water and pee or rest here, go down to do the same here. There's a lot of little parks in between. You can see if I luck out, I might find a golf course that's been abandoned. I'll steal a golf cart and bring it back another day and throw my bike on the golf cart and start bebopping down the side roads with the damn golf cart. Um, but even if I stay on the bike, I have options. If this area is, oh, where is it? Right here. This area is a big shopping area. It's probably going to be a disaster. Or this one is, sorry. This is going to be a disaster right here. I may have to go south and cut across and then come back north to get my road. Regardless of how you do it, there's certain things you need to be thinking of in the event. What we saw originally, hold on a second, there we go. What we saw, the AT&T issue, turned out to be something bigger. I'm actually happy the AT&T thing happened because it was very curious to see how other people reacted, right? My wife and I were preppers in our own way. Like I said, we've done this before, and she's like, "Well, the phones are out, so I'm going to go here. You're going to go there. If I'm not home in 30 minutes, I'm taking this route." But we're in a small city. I can walk across the city in a couple hours if I'm and not kill myself. Um, you're in a bigger city, or if you have to go from town to town for work, you need to factor those things in. And again, factor in things like elevation, availability of water. I have people scold me, you need to have a water filter in your get home bag. Oh, yeah, that's great. I live in the frickin' desert. What am I going to filter? For me, my priority is having water in the first place, which means it's already potable because I'm bringing, say, a bottled water. So filtering clean water isn't really an issue for me. Would I bring a filter? Yes, I absolutely would, just in case. But again, that's not like a holy cow, what the hell's going on? Whereas if you have a situation of, I have a lot of water available, say Louisiana, Houston, Charlotte, Charlotte or Winston-Salem, those cities down on the southeast have a lot of rivers running through them. Having a filter would be very important because there's plenty of water. You just got to make it drinkable. You're in Vegas in the middle of the desert, you got to find the damn water, period. The filter's great, but having the water available is going to be kind of my priority. So again, I guess you guys know what I'm saying. I may not be explaining it right. It's important to think of these things before you you get caught on the road, you get caught with lights out, comms down, that kind of stuff. And remember, have some meeting points along the way. Understand your terrain and what's going on. In any case, folks, that's it for this scenario. I just wanted to get you guys thinking about what it takes because a lot of us say, oh, I'll just walk home from work. Yeah, you freaking live in New York City from Manhattan and got to go to Queens. And that's the middle of Queens, not the far end of Queens. Um, that's a 4 to 6 hour walk. You're in Houston to get to the suburbs, it's 12 hours. If something happens at noon, it'll be midnight when you get home. That's assuming you don't stop. These are the things you got to be ready for. You got to think about. And guy like me, I'm flying from city to city. There's no way in hell that'll take me 2 weeks to walk home. I have to factor that in too. What is my route from Houston to Dallas? I live in a state where we don't talk about miles. We talk about how many hours at 80 miles an hour it takes us to get from A to B. Think about that. Be ready for that kind of stuff. And remember, you're going to have to adjust your get home bags and your emergency bags to where you are if you're going to spend an extended period in another place. In any case, folks, that's it for this one. God bless, Godspeed. I hope you guys found this one fun. And I will see you on the next video. You guys take care of yourselves.